Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is pretty late. I usually do not like to make episodes this late, but unfortunately we have a bit of activity across the tropics and I just would like to address it. Now I know other channels, other weather channels if you will, are a bit more active on this. They talk a little bit more about this, but I just want to let you guys know that no one on YouTube is supposed to give out direct information or official info, and I think all of them know that. I'm just here to clarify that for official info. Go to the National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service, and NOAA, as they are your official weather sources for this type of situations. Now, let's get into this. So we have a tropical storm Laura that did form. It is a tropical storm. It is right now across the Leeward Islands. It's really tracking across them right now. And we also have tropical depression 14, which is also looking to be a interesting story. So this one really out here doesn't look, because this kind of catches the eye if we were looking at this whole preview. This doesn't really look like it has a high chance of development. You can see 20% in the next 48 hours and 20% in the next 5 days, so really just low. But you can see this one is a tropical storm, and it is spinning at 45 miles per hour. Millibars of pressure is at 1007, located at 16.8 degrees north and 62.6 degrees west, and it's moving west at 15 knots or 17 miles per hour. This one is a bit weaker. You can see it's at 35 miles per hour, and in order for it to be a tropical storm, it needs to be at 39 or higher, so it's definitely close, and it probably will get to storm strength, it seems, but it's a bit uncertain as well. And you can see it's moving more of at a northwest angle at 11 knots or 13 miles per hour, so a tad slower. But the thing is, this is a unique setup that we haven't had in a very long time, where I don't know. I honestly don't remember. I don't really. I'm not too familiar with the. I'm familiar with the large hurricanes, Katrina, like Sandy. Obviously those. But I don't ever remember. At least in my time that I've been in love with the weather, they're hitting two possible hurricanes or tropical storms at almost the exact same time. I don't know if anyone could drop that in the comments the last time it did happen, or they do remember, because I don't really remember, and I'm pretty sure it is rare to say the least. And Eastern Pacific, just to give you a quick look, there is quite a bit of activity, so that is really not that good. This is post-tropical Cyclone Genevieve. If you recall, it was a giant hurricane. It is now weakened and most likely will continue to. There's also quite a bit of activity going on across there, but let's just focus on the Atlantic and let's get into this. So let's go on Laura and see what its track is supposed to be based on the National Hurricane Center. Again, this is your official website that you should go to, National Hurricane Center and Central Pacific Hurricane Center. This is where it's at. This is where you guys should be on if you actually want the best information. So regardless, let's take a look at this. Notice that we are looking at this tropical storm as of right now, tracking through the Dominican Republic, possibly through Puerto Rico. Again, this cone is not the cone of impacts. Neither is it the size of the storm. This is just basically where it could track. So I want to make this clear. This storm could track along the edge right here, or it could track along the edge right here. Now, it's more likely, it's kind of like a bell graph. So as you get further out, it's less likely to occur. And towards the middle, it's more likely. That's kind of what they're saying. The higher confidence is within, I guess, a certain percentage of the center of the cone. But they're not excluding the possibility that it could travel across these edges right here. And I mean, look at this out here. I mean, this could be hitting Florida, or it could be going for Texas. There's a huge disparity. And unfortunately, they make this cone because they just don't know themselves. And it would be awesome if they did, but unfortunately they can't. And notice that there are tropical storm warnings, tropical storm watches across parts of the Bahamas and into Haiti and Dominican Republic and much of Puerto Rico. Now, again, it's a very unknown what this does. It could possibly become stronger than a Category 1 hurricane. It could possibly just stay as a tropical storm. Regardless, it looks as if the impacts will be there. Rain, heavy rain, strong winds across southern Florida and into much of the Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama area, and into the panhandle of Florida. Anywhere in here, really just anywhere in the Gulf Coast, you got to be careful because, again, this is not the cone of impacts. This is where it could travel. And we're still a few days away. I mean, you can see that if it continues as it's supposed to, as it predicted, it's going to be nearing the coast nearing Florida by Monday. So, I mean, 2-3 days, and then a bit around a week, less than a week by the time it's across the Gulf Coast. So definitely interesting, definitely something we have to keep an eye on for. And again, National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service is your best source, not the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel does have nice graphics, right, and it does provide really good information, but even they themselves say stay tuned to the National Hurricane Center, because they are not a government sponsored agency, they are a private business. So if you were to look at this, this is how much rain they're forecasting. You can see the rain amounts are definitely going to be significant, and there are some mountains in these areas, so landslides, mudslides may be occurring with this for sure if the rain is heavy enough, and hopefully this rain stays on the lighter side. But again, it looks as if there's going to be some pretty potent rainfall with this. Thankfully, it is relatively fast moving. It's not really spinning in a circle or just standing still, which we do have sometimes. But notice that this is the track of Tropical Storm Laura, which is already named. It's a tropical storm. And you can see it slowly intensifies. 50, 65, 65. Now, let me tell you, if this were to be across open land, right? If this were to be across open water, there weren't any Caribbean islands, there wasn't no Cuba, this probably would have been a bit stronger, as this kind of tears it apart, and that's could be the case if this tropical storm stays off really the center of it, stays off the land. Notice, I mean, if it goes further to the south, it's worse news for these folks here in the Dominican Republic. But it may therefore be weaker as it moves into Cuba and into the U.S. But if it stays off the coast, it gets stronger. It gets stronger. It could get stronger, and it could be stronger than 75 miles per hour for sure. And that's why the next few days are pretty crucial. And as well, this right here, this time frame from where it's in kind of south of Miami and into the Gulf Coast. Lots of open water. It could definitely strengthen. We've seen hurricanes strengthen pretty quickly across these waters, before, so it's not uncalled for. But at this point, you can see that they're showing a consistent rate at 75 miles per hour, so just a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane. And again, I shouldn't just say just, because a hurricane is a hurricane. A tropical storm is to be even scared of, honestly. Tropical storms are pretty powerful. And again, so regardless, it looks as if the Gulf Coast is really in for some impacts. This could definitely clip portions of Miami and into Florida, but it could also travel way south into Cuba. So again, this is not a cone of impacts, this is a cone of the track. So this is dangerous stuff, if you will. That's why you got to go to the National Hurricane Center for the best info, and that's why I try to stay the most out of it. But if the situation is bad enough or serious enough, I just get on YouTube and say, okay guys, here's some basic information, but please go to the National Hurricane Center for more data, as they are way more qualified than me or any other weather channel on this platform, on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube. So let's quickly go to the other tropical depression 13. This one's also very interesting. It has its own little story, and this is going to be tough because there's going to be two storms almost exactly at the same time. Now, this storm is moving a bit slower, and that one's moving a bit faster, but this one is a bit closer, that one's a bit farther. So basically, skip-it-a-bop-bop-bop-bop-a-bop, these storms are gonna hit the U.S. at around the same time. And let's go to the cone of this thing. Notice it's not saying this tropical depression should be a hurricane as it hits the coast, possibly wherever, southern Texas, Louisiana, wherever it may be. But notice it does strengthen. It transitions into a storm and into a hurricane, so definitely a bit interesting. But then it weakens back into a storm, and we'll see. That's the thought as of now. But it's definitely going to be a close call. And again, we have seen storms before where it depends how it hits the Yucatan Peninsula. If it goes off the shore, then it will be stronger. If it goes further inshore into the Yucatan, it will get torn up and it will be weaker. But definitely still a threat, and it's definitely a unique situation where we have two almost identical hitting storms at the same time. And so that's definitely something we have to keep an eye on for. This is an interactive map. It shows us several, again, features, but you can see that what they're basically showing here is let's click through all of these things and see what we could see. The track, that's the forecasted track. Really, though, again, it could be anywhere in this cone. That's the most likely arrival time of tropical storm winds. I'll keep updating this as it gets further into or closer to the event. Let's look at the past track. I can't even look at that. It's been pretty relatively westward, and then started turning a bit to the north and west. I want to now take a look back now and look at some of the models and what they think of these storms. So I want to take a quickly look at these. Sorry about that. Whoa, that moved the screen recording area. I want to quickly take a look at these models and show you what they got. So I just want to make clear, these are models, right? They're not, sorry about that. They're not the forecast, and many times these models are, they're more often wrong than not. So I just want to point that out, right? But you can see that what this model does in particular, the HWRF, is takes a storm north of all the islands, which would be kind of the worst case scenario. You can see it strengthens. It's a pretty big storm at this point as it passes through the Key West. And if you're wondering, yes, at this point you have a 929 millibar pressure. That would be a Category 5 hurricane, and there's no sugarcoating that. With this particular model, you can see it grows in size. It's just a beast of a storm. But again, this is just one model, and the National Hurricane Center aren't looking at that. They're not seeing that, right? But this is definitely a scary scenario if they were to unfold. But again, it's only one of the many. Now this is another model, the HWRF without the P, and you can see it also indicates a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane hitting the United States. Again, it's just a single model. That would have to be extreme in order for this to happen, but anything's possible, if you will, so just keep your eyes up. But this is going to probably most likely change as we go forward. And if we go past through some of the other model runs, the older model runs, you can see they've been consistently showing this stronger storm. So that's definitely interesting, right? But we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled and see what's up. The HMON, HMON, you can see very similar story, a very strong hurricane Category 5 at this point for sure, and they're predicting all of that. But again, not all the models, and even many of the models aren't agreeing with that. If you look at the GFS model of the Tropical Storm Laura, it shows it at 964, which is pretty strong. That would be probably like a Category 2, maybe a 3, but again, it's still a lot to be figured out and a lot to be resolved, if you will. If you were to look at the European model definitely has it, but you can see it's very, very weak, almost no strong storm at all. So you can see there are model differences, and that's why this makes it tough, as one is showing a Category 5 while the European is showing a tropical depression. Now, of course, just stay prepared, have a plan. This could be a pretty strong storm, but again, it's not even certain whether or not it will hit the U.S. as a hurricane or what. So a lot of stuff to discuss, a lot of things still going on around this. And I wanted to show you the Canadian right before we go. The Canadian, you can see, is definitely showing it stronger than the European, but weaker than the GFS. So definitely still a concern. Probably some heavy rain, some impacts are definitely still going to be possible, regardless of which scenario folds out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking, consider watching, or consider subscribing, and keep your eyes to the sky and the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. See ya.